But first, the burning question of coal. Once again, we had federal politicians tearing themselves apart over coal-fired electricity generation today. This time, Labor got in on the act with some mixed messages on whether we ought to even consider, even dare to dream about a new coal-fired power station. And as we know, the Liberals and Nationals are already fighting over this.
We are technology agnostic when it comes to ensuring we have reliable power generation in this country. We want to ensure that electricity prices come down, not go up. We want to ensure the lights stay on, not go off. We want to ensure that industries, whether they be in North Queensland or anywhere else, that provide the livelihoods for Australians, continue to be maintained.
Look, so will there be a new coal-fired power station in Queensland? Perhaps. But it's not the be-all and end-all when it comes to our energy needs. With so much renewable power already in place and plenty more to come, and with all the climate activism, it'll be gas-fired power that saves the day in Australia. More coal-fired baseload power would be a good thing, but it might have passed us by. The sooner we get plenty of fast-start gas generation, the better. But what about the rest of the world? Coal is one of our largest export industries, and the Greens, some Labor MPs and heaps of climate activists want to shut it down. Imagine the cost in jobs to families and communities thrown on the scrap heap, and the hit this would do to give the kick in the guts to our national economy. Anyway, over at the ABC, they had a panel discussion last night to discuss some of these important climate policy issues. And who would they have on their show, apart from renewable energy experts and perhaps a business leader? Well, you'd have a reality TV host, wouldn't you? A bloke who hosts Married at First Sight or A Farmer Needs a Bachelor or something. And here's what he had to say.
Like it or not, the world is going to stop buying our coal, all right? I'm sure we would prefer to dictate that timeline of how we transition away from it rather than be caught with our pants down when the price plummets.
Well, that's what the woke activists like to think. But let's have a look at how this $70 billion industry is actually going. This Reserve Bank graph shows how production has been growing and how it remains high. Domestic consumption in brown and black there is a relatively small part. The blue is the massive export component of our coal industry. These next two graphs are from the International Energy Agency, and they include projections. So there's Australia in blue, second largest exporter of thermal coal and largest exporter of coking coal. And where is the trend over the next 5 years or so? Still trending up gradually. Whatever your views on climate action, this is good news for our economy. And this is borne out by the latest International Energy Association Agency report from last year, which refers back to global coal demand in 2018 that was driven by growth in coal power generation and reached an all-time high. It went on to say that over the next 5 years, global coal demand is forecast to remain stable, supported by the resilient Chinese market, which accounts for half of global consumption. Yes, they are still building hundreds of coal-fired power stations in China. More than a dozen are being built in Japan and many more in Indonesia, Pakistan and elsewhere. Coal use is edging down here in the US and Europe, but it isn't going down globally anytime soon. No matter what the reality TV hosts say on the national broadcaster, we are going to be facing strong coal demand for a long time to come.